Hi, friend. You're in the right place. This is the Beauty in Burnt Toast. Life gets a little messy, faith gets real, and hope shows up when we least expect it. Guests pull up a chair to share their stories, the good, the hard, and the how did that even happen moments. So grab your coffee, maybe some actual burnt toast, and settle in. This is the Beauty in Burnt Toast. Welcome back to another episode of the Beauty in Burnt Toast. Today is part 2 of the Unhurried Project, and we're calling it Choosing Family First Without Losing Your Business. The previous episode, I sat down with Dr. Jana Lovelace, a licensed clinical psychologist, and we talked about what constant hurry does to our mental health, nervous system, and relationships. And today I am with Haley May. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
She is a realtor with ARC Realty. And I asked her to join me because we had coffee a few weeks ago and she was just talking about how she had really kind of turned her life around with her business, setting boundaries for herself and doing all the things that most of us, especially as realtors and entrepreneurs, should do. So, Haley, why don't you start by just telling me and everyone else a little more about yourself?
Okay. I have a husband and 3 kids. My boys just turned 10. They're twins. And then I have a daughter who is 6. So life is very full.
Yeah, sounds like it.
Between being a real estate agent and a mom, I'm also very involved with our church. Stephanie Wood and I started a women's ministry, I guess around 2 years ago, called She Collective.
It's hard to believe it's been that long.
I know it's really crazy, and so we do gatherings where we bring. Our mission is to bring people from all over, not just from our church, but to be able to connect women all together. Because it's nice whenever you are in the classroom, like volunteering, and your kids are there, and you see other mothers that may not go to your church, but to be able to provide a space to where like you can see you're all on the same team. So that's what we wanted to do with that. And so we do the monthly gatherings. We do a weekly podcast. And then we started doing small groups where we have actually been writing the curriculum for it.
Yeah, that's a lot. How long did it take y'all to set that curriculum up?
Well, we took a couple of days the first time.
Really?
Yeah, because it was very loose. We just kind of did like, weekly readings. Each time we've gotten more and more involved with it. This past time, we actually wrote an entire book.
Oh, wow.
I say book, it was more so like journal prompts. So we did 12 weeks, and each week we had it like 5 days of journal prompts.
Okay.
So this time around, we've actually taken an entire month to write the curriculum that will be releasing in January. So I'm really excited about it because it's a little bit more formal and looks a little better than the others that we just kind of threw together out of need.
Well, talk a little more about your podcast too, real quick.
Yeah, so our podcast, we use it. We started using it at first just to reach more people. We wanted to be able to reach as many women as we could. And a lot of times a podcast is easier because we're busy and we can't get face to face as much. So we did that initially, and then we started utilizing it as a way to communicate to all the small groups that we had. So we set up a small group in the summer, this past summer, and it was based on just them listening to us and then going to their group and discussing together. So it's a fun way for us to reach more people and then also kind of dig into the Bible a little bit deeper and be able to connect with people on that level.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Have y'all been enjoying doing that?
Yes, it's a lot of fun. I've always wanted to do it, but I never really knew how. And Stephanie just called me one day and was like, "Hey, I was thinking we should do a podcast." And I was like, "Okay, I've always thought that, but I just didn't want to, jump into anything else." And so it's been a lot of fun. It's
Sometimes
kind of
you just
good
have
outlet.
to jump in head first.
Well, that's kind of how I roll. I'm a doer. I tell everyone I'm a doer. I jump into things.
Me too.
I get really excited. So that also is how I've gotten myself into situations to where I had to find out about boundaries and figure out how to make them work for myself.
Well, that's like me too, especially with this podcast. It's like once God gave me the word for this, I was just like, I have to do it now. I was probably driving everybody crazy, but I'm just like, let's go. I just instant download is what it felt like. And it's just exciting.
It is.
It's awesome. Well, tell everyone a little bit about how you kind of started shifting into the unhurried life and what prompted you to start doing that?
So at the point where I decided that I was burnout, I
Mhm.
had been in real estate for around, I guess, 8 years at that point. I never wanted to be a real estate agent. Like, that's not anything I ever thought about doing. Uh,
I know what that feels like.
Literally, I'm like, I went to college. Why would I be a real estate agent?
Wait, what'd you go to college for?
I have a marketing degree.
Okay.
Yeah, marketing and public
Yeah,
relations.
well, that fits better than fashion merchandising.
It does. It does at least like kind of fall into it. And that's how I
Yeah.
got involved in real estate is I was doing marketing for real estate agents. And the owner of the company was like, hey, you're doing a really great job for these people. But like I thought I was making good money because I had these $500 a month packages.
Yeah.
And he's like, they're making thousands of dollars off of your marketing. And he's like, and you have the personality for it. So he ended up paying for me to get my real estate license. Like he had me take the course, I took the test, I got my license, and I really didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
And what got me started in everything is I had twin boys and they got sick. And I was working a corporate job at the time and they were sick all the time. It was like every week I was having to call into work.
Is it when they were first born?
They were about a year old.
Okay.
So one of them had asthma, but they wouldn't diagnose him until he turned 2. So we were waiting on him to turn 2 to get a diagnosis. And then the other one just called everything he had. And they were in daycare at this point. And so they started getting really sick. They were in the hospital off and on. I mean, it was just a disaster. And I was having to call in constantly. So one week I came to work on a Monday morning and they told me that they were deleting my position. So basically, easy way out for them to fire the girl that has all the baggage.
Oh my gosh.
And so I had my license, but I had never really utilized them.
Yeah.
And so at that point, I was like, okay, I can either go find another job to where I have to put my boys back into daycare and we stay in this cycle, or I can figure out how to make this career work for me. And I really think it was the Lord that opened up the doors because he knew that I would never on my own leave my paycheck. I needed my paycheck every week. And so my husband and I relied heavily on both of our checks, and it was scary to do something that was full commission.
Yeah.
So I hit the ground running that year and I sold about around $1 million, I think, between September and December.
Yeah.
I replaced all my income plus some. So that was a huge blessing. But a lot of times with big blessings, we have the choice to go like the path that God wants us to, or to make that blessing about us. And unfortunately, I made that about me. I wanted to be number one after that. I was listening to every self help book, to every real estate guru out there.
Yeah.
I'm talking constantly, doing 50 things at one time. And I still had 2 little boys at home. So that, I guess it was a little bit of like, okay, I had to have the drive, but then I also put myself into overdrive. So fast forward 8 years later, so literally 7 years of total and complete like hustle.
Yeah.
I was boss babe, like mom boss, all that. I look back at my
I didn't
Facebook.
ask you here to preach directly to me. Okay, I'm saying.
I look back at those days and I'm like, oh my gosh, how gross! Well, like really, those
hard.
hashtags.
It's like you get a bug.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like once you get a little taste of success, it's real easy to go crazy with that.
Oh yeah, and I was so prideful. I felt like I was self-made. Like there's all these things I could describe myself as during that time that gives me the total ick now. Yeah. But it does. I'm like, oh my gosh, so gross. But around that 7-8 year mark, my husband had moved up in his job. He was working out of town 4 days a week. So not only do I have 2 little kids, and at this point had just had another baby, he's working out of town Monday through Thursday. Yeah. So I'm trying to be mom boss and literally momming by myself. And remember, I'm prideful, so I can't ask anyone for help. Yeah. And even if I would have wanted help, I'm not sure who could have helped me anyway, because I mean, how do you even help? How do you help in that situation? So that's when I just kind of hit a brick wall. My sister invited me to go to a freedom class. And if you've ever been through freedom, it is a 12-week Bible study. And I honestly went because my entire life was taking care of kids, AKA trying to survive by myself, plus trying to be this like boss babe And it was exhausting. I had no friends.
Mm-hmm.
I relied on my husband to be my everything. He had to be my friend. He had to be the other provider in our house. And he was like also trying to do his thing.
Yeah.
So it was just exhausting.
So were y'all going to Daystar at that time?
No, we were not. So we were not going to church anywhere. And I decided to do this freedom group. I went through, and it changed so much about the way I looked at the Bible and God and everything. And I'd always been a Christian, but I tell everybody I was only a Christian because I wasn't brave enough to be an atheist. I was a really, really bad Christian.
Yeah.
I believed because I needed to, not because I wanted to or had a desire to have a relationship with the Lord.
Yeah.
So you have someone working themselves to death, overwhelmed with children, and they don't have a relationship with the Lord, literally walking disaster. So I go through that freedom class. It changes a lot of things that go on in my mindset.
So did you go in a women's group? Did you and your husband do it together?
No. I was just me in a women's group. He was out of town. So like that was just my excuse to get a babysitter once a week, honestly, to go have like girl time. Yeah. I did not know I was signing up for something very serious. So I go through that shortly after COVID happened. And we still were not really involved in church, but COVID happens. We didn't know as real estate agents what was going to happen. But then it ends up being the craziest time ever. So even though I had the kind of desire to slow down, everything was so wild. How do you even slow down? And you had that fear in your back of your mind, like, okay, how long is this going to last? After this, there's going to be a recession. We're not going to have any money ever again. Like, when will I have my next closing? And so also during that time, it was kind of an awakening for our family because churches were closed. Yeah. That was the first time in my life that I couldn't have went to church if I wanted to. And I think it made me not take that for granted. I mean, as an American, like, and especially in Alabama,
you can go anywhere.
Oh my gosh. I could go to like 100 million churches, like all in the same day. They have different services for all of us. So that was the first time that ever was like not an option. So we started going to Daystar at that point. I got involved in another freedom group. And that's when it was like the first freedom group taught me about who the Lord was and changed my mindset. And the second one is what shifted my whole world. So in the conference, I felt like the whole time I felt like the Lord kept telling me to slow down. And I'm going, Lord, I want to slow down, but how do I? We rely on two incomes. And so because the Lord is a gentleman, he reveals things to us like so slowly. Yeah. So at one point, I'm like, he wants me to quit my job altogether. He wants me to just quit. And like, what am I going to do? Yeah. That's not me. And then I felt like I kept hearing from him, and he started to show me slowly over probably a 3-year process how to set the boundaries, how to be the person I felt like I was called to, because I feel like I'm called to be a working mom. Yeah. He equipped me with the ability to be able to juggle certain things. And I feel like that in the economy that we're in, there's some people that don't have the option, and I felt like I could be relatable to them.
Have you ever been a stay-at-home mom?
No.
Not even for a moment?
No, I've always been a working from home mom. Yeah. So like whenever forever. My kids didn't go to daycare. They stayed with me. Oh, wow. Yeah, until they were 3 years old. Yeah. So I always say like I've never been a stay-at-home mom. I've been literally a work from home mom. And that was before COVID, because now that's a big thing. Yeah. Everybody's a work from home mom now. But then, I mean, it was literally just me and my kids, and me trying to lock myself on my back porch every time I needed to have a phone conversation, so there was not kids crying in the background.
Why do kids go insane when you get on the phone?
I don't know.
I don't understand it. The minute
they need nothing
I'm on with
until
the client, I have to go lock myself in the closet, and then there's like,
yes, and then they act like you haven't you haven't fed them all. They're suddenly hungry. It was always a disaster.
Always. But I just did you ever take your children with you to showings?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I had no choice.
I saw that discussion recently on a group as moms discussing whether they could do that or not. And I'm like, I always ask permission. Yeah. I'm like, hey, just so you know, if you want to see this house right now, I'm going to have to bring my kids. I just want to make sure you're okay with that. And 9 times out of 10, they're like, oh yeah, we love kids. Like, I don't think I've ever had anyone tell me no.
No.
But a lot of times I am working with people that I know, but still, usually people are pretty good about that.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's all about communication.
Mhm.
So most people don't really care. They honestly would look at the house without you
Yeah.
if you would let them. You know, if that was allowed, they would be totally fine with that. And then have you come in after whenever they're ready to do something or not do something. So I was just I was very honest with people. I'm like, look, my husband works out of town.
Mhm.
This is what I have going on here. So I can either show you with them or you have I can do it at this time.
Yeah.
So sometimes you just have to do what you have to do.
Are people normally pretty receptive to that?
Yeah, I mean they've always have been for me. I mean, my kids are very well behaved. They've been real estate agents for a long time. I tell people that all the time. I'm like, they literally have done. And some people you could tell, like, hey, this isn't going to be a good thing. And so I would just tell them, I'm not available. I have an appointment.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know what that appointment is. That appointment is I'm sitting at the house and I've got kids running around like crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But I always think about it as if I'm going to go to the doctor, I can't get in with my doctor right this second.
Yeah.
And if I had a real problem, I want to talk to my doctor. I don't want to go to a doc in the box at urgent care. And so I had to start realizing that, because what happens when you're an entrepreneur and you have children and you don't set the boundaries is your children start to feel like burdens, and they're not. I prayed specifically for every child that I have. And so when I started feeling like my children were burdens, that was another huge eye opener to me, that the Lord had called me to be a mother. He had called me to be a real estate agent. He didn't call me to be one better than the other. So I had to figure out how to be both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, one thing out of that that I've learned recently is, no is a complete sentence, as well as when you're telling somebody, hey, I have an appointment or I have this, that is a complete sentence. You don't need a full blown explanation out of that. That's like when I'll get in these group me chats with PTO or whatever, and they'll comment, I can't help because I have blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, did we really need all that?
We feel like we need to over-explain.
No.
Yeah.
I cannot. I don't need your whole life story, your itinerary for the rest of the week.
Well, as women, we feel guilty, and we feel like that we need to over-explain to make it okay.
Yeah, mom guilt.
But the reality is that it's okay if you can't be there, especially if it's because you have a child at home that has a fever.
Yeah.
You don't have to explain that, because at the end of the day, especially as an entrepreneur, a lot of times you get to choose who you work with.
Yeah.
And I always make sure I'm working with people who understand and respect.
Yeah, respect. That's
the
big word. Yeah.
It is. And I mean, there's some people that don't care. And I've learned over time that when I push myself to work with those people who don't care, it always ends in disaster. And so I'm better off just being like, okay, this isn't a good fit.
Yeah. No, I've had clients before that I worked with for a very long time, and I finally just had to say, look, I understand that you don't respect me and I cannot continue this relationship. Yeah. And it's really hard, but sometimes you got to do what you got to do.
Absolutely.
So talk a little more about how you implemented steps to kind of slow down.
So I had to first start just looking at what I had taken on. I tell women this all the time. Look at your plate, visualize a plate in front of you and all the things you have on it.
Yeah.
Then ask the Lord what He put there. And my plate was overflowing.
Like a Thanksgiving.
Oh yeah, yes. It had all this stuff and gravy rolling everywhere. It was everywhere.
Yeah.
And then you look and you're like, okay, the Lord did not place all this on me. We get very excited about trying to find our purpose and living a fulfilled life, when in the reality, sometimes less things are more. Yeah. So I realized what was on my plate was being a wife, being a mother, and having a career. And at that point, I had to let go of everything else. A lot of things I had said yes to, I said yes because I thought that it would build my business. So maybe part of networking groups or things like that. I did that in the excuse of
my toes hurt.
Sorry. I did that in the excuse of this is for my business. Or I was on the PTO board. I did that in the excuse of, I want to know what's going on at my kids' school and I want to be involved. And I did all these certain things, and like I would tell my husband, well, this is for me. This is what I find fun.
Yeah.
But then when I started really thinking, is that what I found fun?
Yeah. And you stretch
No.
yourself too thin too. And then you're only giving a small portion of what you really could be giving.
Yes. And
Mm-hmm.
so I started looking at who's getting the best of me. And it wasn't my family. It wasn't my clients. It really wasn't anybody. I was just spread so thin that everybody was just getting a little bit of what I had to offer. And then what happens with me is when I feel like I'm not doing well, I shut down and I don't want to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to first just look at that plate, see what the Lord placed on it for me. He places different things on your plate in different seasons.
Yeah.
I had little kids, so my plate was full with just those minimal things. Then as they got older, I've been able to take on different things, but I have to ask myself too, like, is the Lord calling me to this? Is this going to make a difference in my family?
Mm-hmm.
Or is this going to make a difference to somebody else? Or am I just doing this because I feel like I'm supposed to?
Yeah.
So learning to say no was like the first thing. And then the second thing was I looked and I was like, okay, what is my problem here? And it was that I couldn't figure out when was I mom and when was I real estate agent. So that was very hard when my kids were at home with me.
Mm-hmm.
Now at this point, they were all in school. So I should be able to be real estate agent for certain hours of the day and be able to give them my full attention.
Shut it down at some point.
Well, these little cell phones are Satan because they're constantly dinging. Yeah. They've got notifications. They've got this. They've got that. And so I would find myself being like, okay, I'm mom now. Oh, but this client needs me. Oh, or I'm refreshing my email. Yeah. Oh, I'm doing this. And there's no such thing as a real estate emergency. There really isn't. Like there's been even when you think there is, it usually requires 5 other people to fix it. Mm-hmm. So you can't even do anything,
well,
right then.
That's the biggest thing is in real estate, there's a lot of things you do not have control over.
No.
And people have a hard time understanding that. It's like we need that appraiser to be out there yesterday or to go back and fix something, and I cannot reach out to them. I need somebody else to do their job in order for that to happen.
Yeah.
So
it is. And so I just really had to set the boundaries up with my cell phone saying, okay, I am working from these hours. This is the time that I'm going to answer my phone. And then these are the times I'm going to read text messages. Text messages can ruin your whole day. How many times have you woken up in the morning and read a text? Used to it was email, but now text, people send those way more. You read one text before you even get out of bed and it ruins your whole day.
So my thing is right before bed. Like I've had some before, so I try like an hour before bed to just not look at my phone at all. Mm-hmm. And my phone goes on silent from like 8 o'clock until 8 o'clock.
And I think that is amazing because we set the boundaries. Not everyone's going to respect them. Mm-hmm. It's funny because clients respect them way more than the other agents.
Oh, well, that all started because I had an agent that would call me at 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah, that's inappropriate. And if you're listening to this and you think it's okay to call someone at 9 o'clock at night, I always think about this. Whether you call someone's grandma on her landline at this time of night. No, well, don't call me because I'm grandma and I go to bed early and that's my landline. So
I am totally grandma.
Oh, me too. Me too. My husband and I get up at like 4 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning because the way he works. So I'm like, we're in the bed early. Mm-hmm. And that's okay because it's none of your business what I'm doing like after a certain time.
First thing in the morning, people want to call too. And I'm like, I'm getting my kids ready and I'm taking them to school. Like I just cannot.
Well, I just had to completely shut it down. Mm-hmm. So I got a second I shut it down, but then I have a life. I want to talk to friends because that's been a big thing of setting the boundaries was some people have too many friends and too many people I talk to. Yeah. I just had too much work and no fun. So I want to talk to my friends. Well, it's hard to be trying to text your friends and then Agent Billy is texting you about something crazy going on. You can't not see that. Yeah. So I got a different phone number. I have one phone, but I have 2 phone numbers. So I have a phone number that I use for like ministry stuff. It's my fun phone number is what I call it. It's like for my friends, my family. I can text on it at 10 o'clock at night if I want to, and I won't see any real estate. And so it's all on the same phone because I'm not a psycho. I can't keep up with 2 phones. But I have like a Google Voice number and then I have a regular number.
Smart.
So it's a totally different app. Everything is over here. So I have to intentionally look at it. which brings me to like my next thing was that I started treating text as emails because they're not emergencies. Text messages should not be a way to interrupt your schedule, and we allow it to be. And so that would mess me up. I would have this perfect block schedule for my day. Well, I decide to check a text message at 8:30, and now I feel like I have to deal with that. And I didn't get to do my follow-ups. I didn't, follow up with a seller, blah, 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 whatever. So I was losing deals because I was allowing other people to be the person that like made up my schedule for me.
Well, I mean, it's your task management too. Like a lot of times I'll come in and have a to-do list and something will just make my entire day blow up and I won't be able to do anything else.
And even with boundaries, that does happen sometimes, but at least you have the tools in place to say, okay, I am the one responsible for my day. I'm the one that is going to make sure my time away from my family is utilized the way it needs to be. And so I got just so strict on just making sure that I didn't allow someone to come in and interrupt what I had going on.
Well, so do you prep people in advance? Do you tell them, hey, I don't answer my phone from this time to this time?
Yeah.
Or what do you say to them?
So I tell them in the beginning, this time to this time is my family time. If there's an absolute emergency, call me. Okay. But I go over like what could be an emergency, and no one ever calls me because then they know they're like, oh, she's with her family. I'm not going to call her.
So when is your cutoff time?
I try to be. It depends. So it's kind of a client to client basis. I try to be done by 6:30. If I have a client that works, sometimes it'll be like out of another time zone or they work night shift or whatever. I will adjust for them. But for the most part, I try to be done by 6:30, and I over communicate that with my clients. But then I also have systems in place to where I don't miss things. So we use showing time. So if an agent wants to schedule a showing with my stuff, I have it to where they all are either automated or I'm able to respond at a certain time, and I don't have to talk to them like on the phone, whatever. And then if they want to talk to me, I'll call them the next day before the showing. People text at 10 o'clock at night to schedule showings, and I'm like, why would you do that? Like, I can call my client right now and ask them if that's okay. So I over communicate with the client, I over communicate with agents, and then I have systems in place to where people don't feel like either their listing is not getting the attention it needs or that they're going to be missed, because they're not going to be. So I just make sure that I, from the get-go, just have all of those systems in place. It takes a little bit more time, but it gives me freedom.
Now, you had talked about something, I think you mentioned something about cutting off on weekends. So what does that look like for you?
It depends. Same thing. I use showing time to utilize for the showings. I know if I have buyers, what they're going to be looking at or looking for on the weekends. I schedule all of those in advance. And then I pretty much just try to only answer like sign calls, stuff like that. So sometimes I end up having to do more. I have my phone to where it will forward to another agent. And so like she can pick it up for me. So if it's something like a weekend that I'm going to be in Montgomery for a gymnastics meet, I want my people to be taken care of, but I don't want to have to answer the phone while Conley's doing vault. So I just go ahead and transfer those calls over. I let her know what's going on, and she's able to take the calls and help people get them to where they need to be or take a message.
That's good.
There's no real estate emergency on the weekend either because the attorney's offices are closed, the appraisers aren't working. Like, no one else is doing anything except for us. So as long as I can schedule showings and answer agent questions, then that's all that really matters. Same thing with like feedback. If I have showings on the weekend, I usually just try to collect the feedback on Monday, because the best kind of feedback is an offer. And if I don't have an offer come through, then let's just figure it out on Monday. So just trying to push those things ahead and think about like what's truly important. And the reality is your client also probably wants to have a free weekend. So just letting them know, hey, look, if there's an offer that comes through, I will be calling you. If not, you can expect feedback from me on Monday morning between this time and this time.
So setting expectations up front. Yeah, that's good. I don't think most people do that. I feel like starting out as an agent, and I mean, you can speak to that too, I'm sure. It's like you take what you can get when you get it. And you're like, and I used to say this, like, I will always answer my phone.
Oh my gosh, available 24/7, always working.
24/7.
Oh, I've said that so many times, and that is not true.
Yeah.
It's not true, and it's not realistic. That's why I wanted to quit at one point, because I made myself available 24/7.
Now, I will say too, though, there is a difference between setting boundaries and doing things professionally, and then there are agents that just literally will not answer their phone, will not respond to you. Like, there's the unprofessional side to that too, and that is not what we were talking about at all.
No, absolutely not. And that's one thing I struggled with, and I was like, okay, well, if I don't answer, these people are going to be talking about me like I talk about them. But if you have everything in place, most of the time you don't even have to answer for them to be able to get the questions answered they need. So even like, how many times has someone text you when they're showing a property and they say, hey, how old's the water heater? Or how old's this? And you're going back through and looking at your notes. Well, if you already have that sheet sitting at your property, or you have like in my notes, I'll have all of it in there. I'll send a screenshot to them. Hey, here's all the information you may need to know on this. If you need to know anything else, let me know after the showing and I'll collect the information for you. So then you're not going, oh, hold on a second. I know we're on a date night, but I got to text about this water heater. Because that's important. That you are working for your seller. They need that answer. So you feel like you need to. But if you do all the work on the front end, you know what questions they're going to ask.
Well, I know I grew up, like, my dad has been a realtor for a very long time, and I grew up with my mom always complaining because he would always be on the phone. Like, he's from a different generation, of course, but I don't think, sorry, Dad, boundaries have ever been a thing for him. And I just know that that's not what I want.
Yeah. I mean, it can take over your life to where you're juggling so much and you start getting short with your spouse because this agent's asking you 50 questions and it's getting on your nerves because they should have looked at the notes you sent them. And I'm like, that's not fair to you. Like, that I'm getting snippy because I'm having to work. It's different. Like, if he's at work and he's snippy, oh no, he's at work. But like, if I'm always at work, how do we take this and separate? And I was just getting so burned out, and I knew that God had called me to this career, but he did not call me to this career to be this miserable. And it wasn't that I wasn't doing well. I was making great money. But I found out really quick the money is not what was important.
It's a lot.
It is. It is.
So how long, so you started, what year did you start real estate?
2000, let's see, I got my license in 2014, and I started probably full-time the very next year.
Okay. And how long did you say it took for you to kind of realize that you needed to change some things?
Oh, probably 6 years.
6 years.
Yeah, 6,
and then
7
it was kind
years.
of like a 3-year transition. Yeah.
It was just slowly just rolling different things into it, and mostly out of fear. You wouldn't have to take 3 years to do this. You could take the things I've said and you could put them all into place in the next 3 months. Actually, you could probably start the new year like this.
New Year's resolution.
Yes.
Boundary.
But I was just scared. I was scared, and I thought that if I did things differently, what if I didn't have any clients? What if my business went away? What if I didn't make any money?
Yeah. Well, let's talk about what did happen once you started putting these boundaries in place.
So not only was my family just happier, I was able to be more present. My mood was better. I was able to get involved with things like ministry type things, go to a small group without having my phone here, like constantly checking it. But also my business grew. And I never thought that would happen. But I actually, in the very first year that I started just hardcore setting boundaries, I probably doubled my production. But it didn't seem like it. You know, you hear people all the time, work smarter, not harder. It's real. And it was because I was just doing a little bit of work all day long and calling it work, where the reality is sometimes I only have a 2-hour workday. Sometimes I only have a 20-minute workday. And that's okay. How many times are we just doing stuff just to say we're busy or to say we're working? And so just getting really real with yourself. When I was able to get real with myself, I had more time to spend on things that actually mattered, which was client communication and preparing so that I did not have to be so hands on all the time. And my business grew. I also started working with more like professional clients because I was so professional. I attracted
A different type of
a
person.
different type of
Yeah.
clientele.
So, what does your workday typically look like on a regular basis? Like, you don't have an office that you go into, right?
No, absolutely not. Because
Okay.
I am a talker and I would talk to everyone there all
I
day
feel
long.
that too. I feel that.
It would be social time for me.
So, what do you do on a normal day? Not that you ever have a normal day, but if you were to have one.
Yeah, so I try to time block my day because again, I'm still a wife. I really got into homemaking in the last couple of years and just the idea of what a homemaker is, because I always thought a homemaker just meant you were a stay-at-home mom. I never thought about it being the biblical like thing that us as women do. So I've tried to take pride in making sure that my family doesn't live in chaos, because when I was only working, only trying to do everything halfway, everything was chaotic. So I block schedule. I spend every morning, I wake up super early just because my husband does too. So a lot of times, like, this is not for the normal person, but most of the time this morning, let's see, I probably woke up at 3:30.
Wow.
Yeah. So I've had a whole life before most people get out of bed. Is that necessary? No. I do it because I like getting up with him and I like very slow mornings. But that's not.
How long have you been getting up that early?
For since like January.
Okay.
Yeah. So since he's been getting up. No, before I got up at 5.
Okay.
So I would say the first thing, like as a mom, wake up before your children. Do not wake up with them. Wake up before them and get your day like set. Kind of know what you're wanting to do. Drink you some coffee if that's your thing. I read my Bible first thing in the morning. I journal. I try to do a thing that's called morning pages, where you just write 3 pages about whatever you want to. And the reason I did that is because I got very addicted to ChatGPT and realized I wasn't thinking for myself. So let's be real.
Okay.
So I do that in the morning, then I take my kids to school, and then I come back and I do a quick like house reset.
Well, let me ask you this first. What is the first thing you do when you wake up in the morning?
Brush my teeth.
You don't look at your phone?
No, because that will ruin my whole day. Or I will lay in my bed and scroll TikTok.
When is the first time that you look at your
I
phone?
normally, just depends. On an ideal day, I would not look at it at all, but I'm human. So a lot of times when I get my coffee in the morning, I may like open up to like find where I am in a study, or sometimes I may just be feeling like doing nothing and I may scroll TikTok for a little bit. That is on an unhealthy morning. That is not ideal, but it does happen sometimes.
So is TikTok your drug of choice?
Yes. Because there's so much stuff on there.
I just got it and I don't like it.
Delete it.
I prefer Instagram, but I guess I'm an old lady.
Delete it immediately, because I mean, like, you start off your day and you're like, okay, I'm going to bake cinnamon rolls today, and this girl has this productivity hack, and I'm going to go to Sam's Club later, and yeah, it's a bad thing. So I try to stay away from it, but every once in a while I'll fall into that trap. But like, it's actually going off my phone for the new year. Anyway.
That's the resolution?
Yes.
No TikTok?
Yeah. This whole social media in general, like, is going back to how I used to have it, but that's a whole other thing. And so, but then after that, I kind of look at our finances, because that's something that I don't like doing. And so just doing a quick, like, what do you got going on? What do you got coming up? Whatever. So then I set my day into blocks for my clients. So I do a seller block.
Okay.
I look at everything I have going on with my sellers. I contact them. I send them feedback. If I just sent them feedback the day before, then I may not do anything for them. But then I look at my buyer block. I don't work with a lot of buyers. I don't really advertise to work with buyers, but I want to start sending some to an agent that works with me. Okay. So I try to like look at buyers, go back through, has anyone contacted me? Do I need to follow up with anyone? Do I have showings I need to schedule? That kind of whole thing. Then I will do like a new leads and pipeline hour. Then I try to set up any kind of marketing or social media that I have that I can just quickly throw up that. And then I will do like any sort of admin work, contract to close, that type of thing. So in those blocks, I'm looking at my text messages, because I treat them as emails. So I'm seeing, okay, this person's texted me, that's the seller agent on this. I'm going to respond to them this. And so I try to do that in blocks. That way it's not all day long going back and forth with somebody. If I can call them and get the answer, I'm going to call them and get the answer. That way I can be done with this block and go on. And so I try to do like later in the day, I will do just like some more things around my house because I work from my house and I want to be able to keep it maintained as well. And then I do like lunch reset, and then I have kind of like a flex hour before I go and get my kids from school. So in that flex hour, I'll tidy up anything that I didn't get to earlier. I'll check my text messages and my emails again, see if there's anyone there I need to respond to. And then I'm pretty much good for the day.
So what do you do to fill your cup?
Fill my cup? I usually do a lunch with some friends on Thursdays. That's like our thing. We started doing that a while back. So we'll all get together on Thursdays just to eat lunch, and usually we end up shopping and different things like that.
It helps you reset.
Yeah. I like to read, but I'm not good at sitting still. I think that's why I like to wake up so early, because it's so dark. There's no one to talk to me or distract me. And so I can read my Bible then. I don't do as well reading for pleasure at that point, because I kind of want to get like rolling. That's something I want to work on too, is just like filling my cup up by sitting and reading. But the reality is usually if I'm at the house, I want to be moving. So I listen to a lot of podcasts, a lot of audible books. And then my afternoons are pretty like full of watching my kids do stuff, which really fills my cup too. And they're at fun ages. The boys are, like I said, they're 10, Conley's 6. So they have like, I don't know, they always have funny things to tell me and like things to do. And so it's just kind of like an enjoyable time with them to be able to just see what they have going on in their day. Or
well, I feel like this time of year too with kids is just crazy.
It is.
Like it's a lot of holiday parties and plays and everything else going on. So yeah, there's a lot going on during the holidays.
Yeah, there is a lot going on. I feel like all the time there's a lot going on. But I've tried to teach my kids boundaries too. Like we made them take an entire year off of sports.
Oh, wow.
Because we felt like they didn't understand the time that went into it. So the boys were maybe 8, and they kept wanting to play everything. But once they would start playing, they would be like, man, I wish I didn't have practice today. Oh, I wish I didn't have this. And so we made them take a year off of sports to focus on that in that year, what they wanted to do. So the next year we let them play 1 sport. And then this year we've let them play 2 sports. Because they're 10, they kind of realize how much time it takes. So we just have discussions with them. Hey, this sport is this many days a week. You're going to be doing your practices from this time. Games are on these days. And so that helps them figure out, like, is that something they want to commit to? And it's really been awesome, because they'll say like, oh, I would do this, but I know that I would rather play outside these days.
That's good.
Yeah.
Does your little girl understand that?
She does. So she's a gymnast, which, Lord have mercy, that requires a lot of time. She's a gymnast on accident. I was literally taking her just to do a tumble class. Next thing I know, she's on a pre-team, and then she was competing like a month later. And I'm like, she was 4. And so I'm like, holy moly.
But she loves it.
She loves it. And that's her sport. She does not like to sweat. She does not like to run. So I'm like, okay, this is probably what you like to do. But she's the same way. So she practices 4 hours a week, and then they have what's called intensives. So on Tuesdays and Fridays, she has the option to go and take additional classes if she chooses. And I let that be up to her. I have my schedule to where, now not every week, I don't have it completely blocked, because she usually says no, she doesn't want to go. But I do have it to where someone could take her if she decides she wants to do that. But so far, she doesn't want to spend her time doing anything additional. And so I think it's important that we start talking about time with our kids and letting them see how they're filling up their day.
Yeah, that's smart, because that is not something I think that is normally up for discussion with children. It's just like go, do all the time, and everybody's worn themselves out and nobody knows why.
Yes. And we found we love being at home. So there's a book, The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry. Have you read that? Okay, read that before the new year, because it's biblical based, and like he just talks about different things that you can do in your life, like your Sabbath, like just slowing down.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the things are very extreme. Some of them are very just normal, but it also like started to change the way I thought about things. And my kids love to be at home because we've created an environment to where we just, I don't know, it's just cozy and like we
Yeah.
just like being there. And so our favorite weekends are weekends where we have nothing to do. And I don't feel like that's very common in today's society.
I love those days too.
I know. And
it's always something to look forward to.
It is. Yeah. It's just like, this is so awesome just to be able to be at home and then have your kids like want the same thing and everyone kind of all be together. But it's all about creating those spaces and those times and just letting them know like this intentionally is what we want our family to look like.
Yeah. Yeah. My husband's always like, what do we got this weekend? And when I'm like, absolutely nothing, he's like, oh, thank you, Lord.
Yes, it's the best.
Because it's a lot. And I mean, serving too, that can take your entire Sunday as well when you're serving at church. Yeah. So sometimes you just need that one Saturday where you don't have to get out of your pajamas.
Absolutely. I love those days.
Well, so I like to ask everyone, what is a verse that just really means a lot to them and has kind of helped them through life? What is your verse?
Okay, so mine, I have to set it up because everything I have can't be simple. Mm-hmm. So Luke 19:40, it's where Jesus is coming into Jerusalem, and the verse actually says, he replied, if they kept quiet, the stones along the road would bust into cheers. But what's happening is Jesus is coming into Jerusalem and the people are going crazy. Like they're like yelling, shouting. Yeah. And so the army tells them, hey, you need to quieten your people down. And he responds and says that if they are quiet, the very stones will cry out in their place. And that just speaks to me so much because how often are we quiet about who is responsible for our success or who is the reason why we do things the way we do? Because we don't want to be politically incorrect or we don't want to offend someone. Yeah. And so that has been our family's like motto, that we will not let the rocks cry out in our place. We will let the world know who's responsible for the peace that we have, the just faith that we have. And it's all because of the blood of Jesus. Yeah. And so we have a rental house and we've been trying to build up some different rental properties. We even named our LLC Silent Stones. That's awesome. Just so that we can like constantly say, okay, this is, we will not be quiet. Mm-hmm. And when you are in a position to where your job is based on the people like, know, and trust you. Sometimes like I would want to be really quiet about my faith because I'm like, well, what if they don't want to work with me? Well, if they don't want to work with me because of my faith, then we're probably not a good fit. Mm-hmm. And so I just constantly repeat that to myself. I'm like, I will not let the rocks cry out in my place.
That's a great one. I love that your LLC is called that.
Yeah.
Cool. LLC names are really hard to pick out.
They
are.
So
that was a good one.
I know. I love it so much.
Did that one kind of just hit you or did it take you a while to kind of
It kind of took me a little bit, but I had just discovered that verse right before we got to LLC. Mm-hmm. And there's a song, it's called, I think it's called Lift You Up, Lift Me Up, I don't know, but it says, I won't let the rocks cry out in my place. Mm-hmm. And I used to listen to that over and over and over. And so I kept trying to figure out something that would go with that. Yeah. And that's when it finally all came together. And I called my husband. I'm like, what about this? And he's like, sure, that's awesome. I love it. But he's like, wow, I put so much thought into this.
Well, I mean, it's kind of a big deal.
It is. Yeah, it really is. And it's a legacy that we can pass on to our kids.
Yeah. So. Well, so what is like a final word that you might want to share with somebody, especially maybe a mom that is an entrepreneur and just running on all cylinders? What's kind of a final word you'd share with her?
I would go back to looking at your plate, asking the Lord what he put there and what he wants you to do, thinking about your purpose and what it is in that season. Sometimes our purpose is bigger than what we're able to do in a certain season, and we have to remember that's okay. We have time. Yeah. And then also, never apologize for having a family. I feel like that's one thing as women that we're constantly saying, I'm so sorry I can't come, my kid's sick. Mm-hmm. I'm so sorry I can't do this because blah, blah, blah. Don't apologize for having a family. Yeah. Because when you keep saying that over and over and over, it makes them feel like burdens. And that is exactly what the enemy wants. He wants women to feel as if we are in chains and shackles and that we are negatively defined by being mothers and that it's an inconvenience when the reality is that we have a very, very special gift whenever we are blessed with children. We are getting to pour into the next generation. We are getting to be the people who make our homes, who have an inviting space for our spouses to come home to, for us to come home to, and to be able to pour into our children the things that we want them to carry on for generations.
Yeah.
We can easily change so much just by being who the Lord called us to be in our homes. So, setting those boundaries, not apologizing for having a family, and just taking pride in it, taking pride in every single season. Y'all, I had two babies at the same time, and my husband worked night shift. That season was so hard that literally I think that I like blacked out and don't even remember it. But it was such a short time.
Yeah.
They're 10 years old now. I almost cried earlier because I'm like, okay, well, that means they'll be 16 in 6 years. I have less time between now and then than I have their entire life.
Yeah.
That is
I
terrifying.
know, you snap your fingers and they're all grown
Yes.
up.
Now, does that mean I would go back to them being babies? Heck no. Absolutely not. Like, you couldn't pay me.
Yeah.
Were they cute? Yeah, of course, but it was so hard. So don't feel guilty that your season's hard. It's okay for it to be hard, but don't lay in it.
Yeah.
You know, stand up, take what you have, understand that it's just for a moment, and focus in on what you have in that time. If you have two little babies, one little baby, whatever at home, this might not be your time to be boss babe.
Yeah.
And that's okay. You don't have to be everything.
Yeah.
The Lord will provide exactly what you need in every season. And if you'll allow Him to show you what an abundant life looks like rather than trying to make it for yourself, you'll find so much more peace in what He has for you.
Yeah. That's so good. Make the best of what you have been given. And it doesn't matter if you are a boss babe, if you want to be a boss babe, if you're a stay at home mom, if you're whatever, it doesn't matter. You've got this. And just be in your season and be okay, but protect your peace, set your boundaries, and it's okay to say no. And that is a full sentence.
Absolutely.
So you don't have to sacrifice your family, your faith, or your mental health to be successful. Remember, you were never meant to pour from an empty cup. Thank you for joining again on the Beauty and Burnt Toast. Bye, guys.
Bye.